Welcome back. Traditional spring sports in schools in Maine consist of baseball, softball, outdoor track, lacrosse, and tennis. And now there's another competitive sport on the scene.
And get ready for rugby. Joining us this morning are Jacques from the Maine High School Rugby Association and Gareth Roberts with Portland Youth Rugby. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, first of all, why did you decide to start up rugby, especially on the high school level? Did you feel there was a need? And is it a club sport or sanctioned right now?
Right now it's a club sport, and it will be there for a while, but we thought that it would be a great thing to start up because I was a football player. I played football here in Maine for Yarmouth. I went to college to play football, and then I switched over to rugby, and it afforded me so many brilliant opportunities that I just thought when I came back to Maine after I graduated, it would be a great thing to start up for other high schoolers to get involved before they get to college, and then when they get to college they have that opportunity. And then we expanded it more with the youth program down for K-8.
And Gareth, tell us a little bit more about how you got introduced to rugby, and for people who don't know anything about rugby, what are some of the terms in the sport and how does it work exactly?
Yeah, of course. So I'm from Yorkshire in the UK, so I've grown up in a big rugby kind of family community growing up, where I was kind of involved in the rugby club almost from birth. So I've been playing kind of competitive rugby since I was about 6, 7 years old.
Wow.
And I've played all my life, and most recently moved over to America about 10 years ago. So big thing for me is I want to kind of provide the youth of kind of in our local community the same access to rugby that I had as a child. And the overarching Portland Rugby Club right now are building fields, and the whole hope is that we're going to have men's teams, women's teams, youth teams, high school teams to form our own kind of big rugby community around Portland. Some of the terms that you'll come across: scrums, line-outs, penalties, spin pass, kind of rugby. You run forward, you pass backwards. I take care of the kind of the kindergarten through 8th grade, so most of what I do is all non-contact. Whereas the high school, they all move into kind of contact rugby, so it kind of little difference there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do you think this sport is so much fun and so exciting to play and watch?
For me and for many people, it's such a dynamic sport that never stops. There's no stoppages in play. It's just constantly go, 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 go. Lots of action. It's all about taking space. It also allows every single player to handle the ball. So you got your big guys, small guys, anybody can handle the ball. They can kick, pass, tackle, play defense. It allows you to be a very dynamic athlete, which also allows some people in some other sports who might not be able to be the guy to be the guy, especially big men like linemen in football, which I was back in high school. It was so awesome when I finally got the ball in my hands and I could start stepping some of the littler guys and run through some of the littler guys. So, yeah.
Just one thing I'd like to add, it's such a great sport for young girls too, because apart from football, which they can play co-ed right until a certain age, there's no real kind of contact sport alternative for young girls, and rugby can be that sport. There's lots of rugby being played now in high school by girls. We're trying to really kind of get more girls involved in our youth programs. There's colleges and universities across the state and across the nation that all have play like club or varsity rugby. So there's plenty of opportunities there. So we're really trying to introduce the sport of rugby to not just boys and girls.
There's lots of opportunities here in Maine from a college perspective for girls. We actually have 3 NCAA emerging programs here in Maine for girls at the college level.
And I feel like the Olympics really put women's rugby on the map too.
Yes. Yeah, the bronze medal win has really increased across the country participation in women's rugby and girls rugby.
Yeah, rugby's so popular in Europe and in some Caribbean nations. How about here in the U.S.? I know there's a professional league out there too that maybe not a lot of people know about here, but I mean, there's a team in New Orleans when I lived down there, and it shows you how much it's growing.
So Major League Rugby is the professional men's league here. We have a local team playing in Massachusetts, the New England Free Jacks. They're actually 2-time MLR champions. They back-to-back champions these last 2 years. They're going for a 3-peat this year. So it's a big league. They just launched a women's league as well. So down in Massachusetts as well, it will be the Banshees, and that will be our women's professional team that will be playing this year.
And Gareth, you touched on this earlier. I mean, this is kind of your goal, is to have people here experience what you experienced throughout your whole life.
Definitely. We're trying to really kind of improve the access to the sport, so kind of provide opportunities for children to like dip their toes in the water, see if rugby's for them, and then just provide as many opportunities as possible to go off that so they can really take that interest to the next level. And like we say, there's the LA Olympics in 2028, there's the Men's Rugby World Cup that's being hosted in America in 2031, and the Women's World Cup's being hosted in America in 2033. So there's literally no better time than right now to get involved in rugby. And what we're trying to do is just really trying to build the sport.
Yeah, here's a look at your website right now. In Maine, there are 7 high school teams from Berwick to Prescott. Love the names: the Kraken, the Lumberjacks, the Seawolves, the Highlanders. How many years have there been high school rugby, and what's the response been for the athletes, the fans, and the parents?
Yeah, so this spring will only be our 2nd season of high school rugby. It's kind of exploded from nothing to 7 teams across Maine. One of the other things that we really focused on this year is we have a thriving youth in New Hampshire. And so we merged together to create, or recreate really, New Hampshire Maine Youth Rugby Union, and that gives us 10 teams across that sort of region. And then our end goal is to create a league of these teams so that you can play locally, because back in the day, high school rugby has existed in Maine a while ago, and you have to travel all the way down to Massachusetts to play. We're trying to create teams all around locally so that you can play locally. It'll convince a lot more kids to be able to play the sport and give more access. And so the future of it is creating this league locally.
And Gareth, what has the response been from sort of the younger kids that you've been working with?
Yeah, it's been kind of my expectations just got hit by a whole new level last year. I think our initial goal was to kind of reach around 300 children in year 1. Our final totals for last year in 2024 is for our programs kindergarten through 8th grade, over 600 children take part. That was through like 12 separate providers, like middle schools, elementary schools, recreation departments, summer camps. So I think with the high school effort too, we reached more than 700 children. That's kindergarten through high school last year. So that was for year 1 was incredible. So year 2 is all about sustaining last year's effort and continuing to build more programming and more opportunities.
Yeah, the nice thing about it too is if you look at the stats, not as many injuries in rugby as some of the other sports like football. What's a website so people can get more information on
Yeah,
this?
so our new website is nimiru.org, so NHMYRU.org. That is our main website. It hosts all of our opportunities, both high school and K through 8. We add to it all the time, and we're looking for players to sort of join our teams for this spring season.
All right.
And in the Portland area, you are the Portland Kraken.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for being here this morning.
Thank you
for your
very
time.
much.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
Shall we scrum?
Yeah.
Definitely can if you want.
I'll get in a big circle, right? You know?
All right, as we head into break, a reminder,